Hey there, everyone. How are you today? Howdy, howdy. Let's look here. This is vlog 11, podcast 11, and I've been neck deep for 2 weeks now in my summer class up at the university teaching 7th, 8th, and ninth graders traditional animation skills, cell-frame animation, stop-motion animation, and this week we are starting claymation. So it's been a pretty long couple of weeks, and I've got about 4.5 days left before it's all done. And it's been a challenge trying to keep on pace and keeping my schedule of posts, but I've managed to do it so far, and I'm ready to get back and focusing a little more on my videos. I also have a couple weeks in July that I'm going to be gone on vacation, traveling to see my daughter and grandkids, so I've got to get busy as soon as this week is over, getting some more content made and posted for everyone to watch during those 2 weeks. So I've got some shorts I need to do. I've got a couple more tutorials I need to record, and then I'm thinking maybe my vlogs might be on location where we're going. We're going to be going to Missoula, Montana, and I heard a little music playing in the background. So yeah, I think that might be kind of fun. And ultimately, I want to kind of test out that kind of on the spot location recording to see how that goes. And that could be a Wild West train wreck, kind of like I remember the first time I tried going out and doing plein air and watercolor, and I remember it was a train wreck. Everything was just a mess. It wasn't even a bad day. It was a fairly nice day, no wind or anything like that, but just trying to have a setup and working outdoors, on site, finding a location, all of that. It was a nightmare. It took me two or three attempts, going out and doing it. And I do that quite a bit with my classes up at the university. If I have a drawing class, I like taking them outside and drawing and going on location and finding those scenes. But that first time watercoloring, it was a mess. So I even remember one time it was a local plein air competition where we went and was looking for stuff. It was a great day to start out with, but I finally went and found a location, an old dilapidated church that was about ready to fall in. And I just get there and I start setting up, and it comes in, a little black cloud rolls in and starts raining. And I had to set in my car at a certain location or at a certain angle at the location and do my plein air piece inside my car with the wipers going back and forth. So it never goes as expected when you go out and do plein air. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to be busy for the next few weeks trying to get some tutorials done. And like I think I stated in last week's blog post, there's going to be more scenes. I'm going to continue doing some of the still life tutorial, simple shape type things, but I'm going to try to work on them and make a little more of elaborate compositions from them, so they're not just so much of a study, but you're actually starting to use those basic fundamental shapes to create interesting compositions, and then working with your states and stages of watercolor and try to work with your color theory and really use all that to bring it together to look at and to bring something together that will look really good. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm trying to look at my camera. Let's see here. Oh yeah, mainly because any of these scenes or the tutorials, the still life tutorials, they are things that are available and can be accomplished by beginners, intermediate, and advanced artists. It's just a matter of to what degree your skills and your visual vocabulary have come together, and that you're able to balance all those, keep all those flaming axes in the air as you're juggling your decision-making processes in getting a final piece to an end result. So anyway, Yeah, I did just drop Saturday the tutorial of a whale, underwater scene of a whale. That was kind of fun. That was definitely a fun one to do. And I'm sure I'm babbling here. I am sure that you're probably as ready as I am to get into some bigger scenes and do some more elaborate things on better paper, using better tools or better equipment and supplies. Definitely, I'll move probably from my little pan set more into my bigger palette, my Winsor Newton. I use Winsor Newton or M. Graham, so they are both really good brands to work with. Oh, let's see here. I don't know how long this session will be. I've been trying to do these in the mornings before I go up to the school for my session on a Monday morning, so get them ready to post for Wednesday. You know, I've been thinking about, you know, the whole process for you as beginners getting up and running, either through the drawing processes or even getting up to running with watercolor and the frustrations and all of that entails, and thinking back on it. But for me, it goes so far back. I mean, I can't remember a time when I wasn't drawing, and I spent most of my youth drawing and trying to figure things out. And my parents supporting, you know, being very supportive, even though they didn't know what to do with me. I was that odd kid that was able to draw these things and just intuitively. And I do remember a lyceum that they brought a cartoonist to speak to us. And I think I was maybe first grade when they brought this person in. And they did a quick little demo for the entire class. It was probably the first through eighth graders to sit in and watch this person draw. And he had an easel and a piece of paper that he was up there doing some fundamental things. And he definitely, I remember this distinctly. He did the formula for how to draw a cube, and that just made total sense to me. So from that point, I started drawing, and I could replicate it. As soon as we got back to the classroom, probably got in trouble for doing it and not working on my English lessons, which it shows now. But I was definitely sitting around drawing cubes for a number of weeks, just trying them in different positions and things like that. And so I don't remember a time when I wasn't drawing, and I was always trying to figure it out. My parents get me several drawing books, and I remember a drawing animals, how to draw animals book. It was a big, fairly big book, you know, about like that. And it had a horse on the cover. I think I even found a picture of it. I'll post it so you can see what it was. And it showed all the basics. You know, you're starting with basic fundamental shapes, arranging them in a way that you could use it as the structure for your refined piece. And I remember going through that, and it had horses in it. Now, I was just fascinated with horses, and I remember drawing the I think there was a cow in it, and maybe a lot of dogs, various dogs in it. And I was out in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, and there just simply wasn't art classes at that time, and very little of it was taught in the grade school. So it was really up to me to kind of wade through those books. I think there was another book maybe with a dog on it. I can't remember it as well as the one with the horse. But, you know, so it was really on me to sit there and try to figure out how to draw and do this. And I really do kind of envy those kids, like the animation kids I'm teaching right now. You know, they have so many resources available to them now that I didn't have. It was like 1 or 2 books that I was trying to divine creative inspiration and knowledge from. Even though there was good information in it, it was pretty sparse. So it wasn't until I got into high school when I finally had an art teacher that kind of noticed that I had spent some time figuring a lot of this out and started working with me. And that was really my freshman year in high school. It was the first time I ever got some brushes and started painting and things like that. So it was definitely a game changer for me in high school that ultimately led me to a creative career in the arts. Even though, I went into design as a profession right after college, and even transferred in schools and changed majors once. I started out as a painting major and then went in and became a design major and started working in advertising upon graduation. And that led, to like a 15-year career in advertising, although I wasn't real thrilled with the idea of being in advertising. I just never particularly cared that much about advertising in general. Leading up to that. So to have a career in advertising always struck me as kind of strange. So that's when I went back to graduate school, and I always had that interest in drawing and painting, which led me to illustration. And it was probably in my college years that I discovered, actually it was probably sooner than that. I discovered illustration, of course, through everybody's favorite illustrator, Norman Rockwell, at the time. And that ultimately led me to other illustrators. I do recall a time now the little town I grew up in still had the traditional drugstore with a soda fountain in it. And there was off to the side, there was a magazine rack with a little book, paperback book display. And I remember going in there and seeing a collection of 8 books that you could buy as a set of the Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan books, and they all had different illustrated covers on them, and they were just fascinating, and such good artwork and illustrations on that. It was from Neil Adams, Frank Frazetta, Boris Vallejo. So that ultimately led me into some interests into fantasy art in college, and really diving into that, which also, as I started working professionally, and having that interest in illustration, I discovered Mark English, Robert Peake, J.C. Leyendecker. So there's a whole series of really great illustrators through the 40s, 50s, and 60s that I was discovering in college that led me on into more and more illustration. And even did some freelance illustration for a number of years when I was also working as a designer before I started my career in higher education and teaching this stuff. So definitely it's something that I'm looking forward to as I approach my retirement years, to get out there and really dive in deeper into the visual arts. I wish I had more time to do more watercolors on a daily basis than I do right now. And I do appreciate the fact that this channel gives me that opportunity and the structure to really get me in there and produce and create watercolors to further expand my knowledge. So I guess this whole diatribe was essentially about, that long journey that every artist is going to have when they're getting started, whether you're starting at a very young age or later on in your 30s and 40s, and you're looking forward to something to do other than what you have to do on a 8 to 5 job. You want to have that outlet. So no matter what point you're starting this journey, it's going to be a journey, and it's going to be a lot of experimentation, frustration, success. And at some point you're going to have that piece where the clouds will part and the sunshine comes beaming down onto your piece of paper, and it's like, how in the hell did I manage to produce that? Everything just clicked, right? And that's the greatest feeling, is when you're in the zone and everything you do clicks, and you can just kind of step back and look at it. It's like, wow, I just did that, and I did it so quickly. So that's hopefully what I'm going to be imparting upon you through this channel, through this vlog, and through my tutorials, the various skills, and realize that it is a journey, and that I have almost reached my 15-minute mark for these vlogs and blogs. And I'm sorry these are more prepared than they are. I'm doing these extemporaneously off the top of my head, because I've got to go jump in the car and head up to the school and get ready for my summer class kids and my animators. And we are working on claymation this week. So anyway, thanks for watching this episode of Talking Watercolors. Remember, I'm Rusty Nelson. Give me a follow and give me a like if any of this was helpful. I don't know. It was just another exercise in me talking and getting more comfortable on screen. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week in vlog 12, and I'll be done with my animation class. So see you then.